Hi, I'm Dale Jensen. I'm horrible on camera, but I'm pretty good in the shop. Let me go show you what I just made.
Okay, we're just gonna jump right into this one. I forgot to record the very beginning and all that jazz. Travis made the frames for the outside, so I just started building on them. These are some grills for a set of doors in a high-end home. They go down to the wine cellar. They're ornamental, and when you build something like this, it's really tedious and very time consuming. This is edited down like 260 gig of video, so it's a bunch of video. It was a bunch of hours to get something like this built, and it's just really it has to be really precise to be halfway decent. If you don't make it real precise, it shows that you're off a lot, so it really kind of exaggerates how far off something is if it isn't right on the money, if you don't take the time and make everything lined up real nice. So these were really fine detail, really nice pieces, and they were a lot of work. So it's a bunch of cleanup and a bunch of really fine detail. This is the second grill. This is trying to make this one match the other one exactly. I mean, they're not, you know, aircraft machine parts, but you can make stuff very close. You gotta get the bevels and the angles just right on every piece. Fit it, try it, fit it, test it. Measure with the shop calipers and make sure everything's right where you want it. Clamp it down, weld it up. There's going to be parts of this video where there's just really nothing for me to say, just because it's just tedious work. We've sped it up a lot just to get through it, and kind of it's an interesting process. This is my dad walking up. He runs the office and he takes care of stuff. I'm working on taking over and getting the shop and the business part of it myself. The shop is what I do, but I've got to learn the business a lot better before I can completely take over. And I'm trying, but it's really hard to find the time to learn the office when I have to work in the shop. Because these are so fine and so delicate and kind of precise little pieces, I TIG welded the largest majority of it just to keep little tiny welds in and hide the welds in corners and stuff like that where you really don't see them at all. These were made to set inside a wooden frame, so I'm coming back and I'm putting an edge on it so it fits inside the wooden door really nicely. Even though I put little tiny welds in, I still have to come back and detail them out and make them look nice. And they line up pretty good. I'm happy with how they came out. Okay, now we're going to start, those were the grills that go on the bottom. Now we're going to start the grills on the top. This is a roll for rolling like flat bar, angle, tube, it'll roll just about anything you want. It's a really nice piece. We've had quite a while. We've had this probably since the early 90s. We've had to replace bearings and stuff like that in it because it just gets used quite a bit. I need to roll down to like I think it was like a 7-inch, 6 or 7 inch roll or circle, and this is as tight as this roll will go. So I'm going to have to switch over to the sheet metal roll here in a second to get this tightened down the rest of the way. This is me going, that's not going to work. So put it in the sheet metal roll and start getting them sucked down. Oh, this is fun. I left the handle for the end up. Watch. Oh, wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Nope, a little more. Oh, there you go. That was stupid. Stuff like that happens and you just really try not to get hurt. Nobody would have gotten hurt. No, I make sure nobody's on that end of the roll. But still, it's one of those that could have flown around pretty good. I hate doing this. Getting your hands in there is bad. I don't like having my hands that close, but sometimes really don't have much of a choice. This is what's called a slip roll. That's because you can open this end and take out full circles like this. A lot of rolls you can't do this. And this piece of equipment's old. From what I've been told, it's pre-World War I. It's a really neat piece to have. Now that we've got them rolled down to the right diameter, we're going to trim them, flatten them, weld them up, get them all cleaned up so that we can start building these grills. Cleaning up inside radius is always fun. It's hard to make them look nice with just a grinder. You have to come back with a die grinder and barrel sander and that type of stuff to get them really nice and clean. And these are the frames that are going to hold the scroll and grill work. And it's just, again, these have to be really right on the money, really precise, lots of measuring. You can't make it accurate enough because, I mean, if it's off at all, it's just going to look ridiculous. When these are done, they don't look like that big a deal, but by seeing this, I mean, you start realizing how many individual parts there are in this project. And when every single one of the parts is handmade, hand cut, hand formed, it takes a minute. Been using a string to make sure stuff's straight since the Egyptians, or hell, even before that, I don't know, but it still works. Here we're just chopping some pieces off so we can start making the scroll work that go inside the grills. Let's just quick chop them down, don't even have to measure. We're cutting them long, probably 6-8 inches too long, just to have handles and have something to hold on to while we're forging. I'm not running these through the big forge just because they're smaller pieces, and I just want to heat a real small area so that I can flare the end on it and not heat up a big area. I'm not using the air hammer just because I want to control and make a really nice little flare on the end of the scroll, or a fishtail. Yeah, see how it just kind of flares out nice? When you see good quality scroll work, you can tell it because the ends are flared. There isn't a flat spot at the very beginning of the scroll. It's a really smooth, uniform scroll. It doesn't have a crazy flat spot at the very front of the scroll. Now that I got them flared right in front of me, that's a scroll jig. That's what I use to start making the scrolls, give them their basic shape. Looks a lot hotter on video than I'm actually getting it. I'm not getting it that hot. I'm working both ends of this piece of material so I can have end up with a scroll on each end of it rather than a bunch of little pieces. Just with a torch and going by hand, you can get a lot of work done if you just stay at it, don't get sidetracked. Which is kind of my problem with stuff like this, because I'm working in the office and sales and everything else. I don't get to just stand at my table and work very often. It's something I really enjoy doing. It matters how hard you hit it, but you don't have to kill it. It's more about where you hit it, and you kind of stroke the material to move it where you want. You don't necessarily just go in and start wailing on it. I'm not hitting that hard. and I've got a nice flare. If you just start beating on it, it just moves wherever it wants. When you hit it, you kind of push it or stroke it where you want it to go. That one looks about right color-wise. You don't have to get it crazy hot. Kind of a beauty shot, kind of cool. Now it's time to start assembling. These are all the scrolls that I've done so far, and now it's time to put them in the grill work. There's 2 of these grills. This is the second grill. I've already welded the scroll and formed it into the other ones, so those look like they come down as one piece and split. These are little tiny scrolls that go in that ring in the center, in the circle in the center. Forge a bunch of them up, chop them down so that you can forge more. Right now we're just rough cutting stuff and getting the parts the way we want them. There's a bunch of little baby scrolls. Now we can start tagging stuff together. I made a jig so that all these would come out really close to the same. And as I leave, I'm going to cut them down and chop them and grind them and clean them up. And then come back and test fit, and it's just back and forth and back and forth. And you can see the little pile right in front of me grow. And there they are, all done and cleaned up. Now they're put in the circle. I mean, they have to fit like very right on the money. So each one of these has to be just pretty darn precise. Stuff that's this fine and this tedious is kind of fun for a while, but it kind of starts getting on your nerves. You get to the point where you just want it done. Again, it's just fitting every part, making sure everything fits really nice so it looks good. If the little points don't line up exactly, it just looks stupid. Now it's time for the final detail ornamentation. And this is a cast medallion, so I'm using silicon bronze rod to weld it to the grill work. And once I got it welded on, now I'm putting a brass dome half ball in the middle of it. So you got to get it lined up really nice, and then you got to get the steel part really hot without melting the brass. So that's the tricky part. That's why I'm working around the outside edge real careful. Last little detail, tack welded in place. Not a bridge, it doesn't have to stay there for well, it's going to stay there forever, but you don't have to weld all the way around it. Just 2 nice little tacks and it'll stay there really well. Final cleanup. I think they're kind of cool. But it's surprising how much, they don't look that complicated, but the amount of work that went into them was surprising. Travis is getting them blasted real quick so that they can go into the paint booth. There they're all blasted up, ready to go. We're gonna start shooting with some black. Stuff like this is major pain to paint. You've got to hit it from every angle twice, it seems like. Just try and be really super precise. Hit it from all 4 sides, then flip it over and do it again. Here's the finished product. I think they came out really cool. Down the stairs is this family's wine cellar. And these grills go in these custom-made doors and just kind of show off the entire area. So I'm very happy I got to do them. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to watch those and I'll respond to them. Also, our website is on the screen, jensendesign.net. You can get a hold of us there. We'll be more than happy to help you with any designs or ideas you might have. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.